Well, we're ready to begin Chapter 8, called The Bridge. I just want to call your attention to this material that leads down to the bridge. And here's the bridge. And you notice that we have a vehicle here. And there are other vehicles, and we'll take a look at those shortly. Now in this image you can see a flying craft parked here. You can see hangar cutouts. There are two hangar cutouts. Each contains a disc and another object. There's a disc and another object. Now we want to examine this riverbed because there are a lot of craft parked here. First we'll look in here. Doesn't look like much until we enhance it. Then we're going to enhance this area. Now here's the area at the bottom. We appear to have holographic screens. We've got a craft here. There's something else here. You can see that there are objects here that just blend into the background. You can see the metallic nature of these things. They're quite well camouflaged, even though they're lying out in the open. This is auto contrast, auto tone. You can see that there's a craft here, and you can see other craft in the area, and I believe that this is another defensive energy weapon. But it's interesting to see how this is parked. It's got a support at the back and a support at the front, and the whole craft is above the water or the riverbed. I assume that this riverbed is ice-covered iron, as we have seen all along this river. Now when we move over to the right, we want to look at this area in here, above these hangars. This end is raised up, and there's a shadow under it. This is a little bit further to the right yet again. You can see that there's something here. And they're camouflaged, and they disappear right into the background. They blend with the background. Looks like there's something here also. Holographic screens here. You can see the vertical sections. This is how they camouflage. We probably have a craft here, and we'll take a look at this upper ridge line also. Now here's the first isolated view, and you can see that it continues on along the mountain, and we'll get a better view of this end of it in another image. You can see that there's a vehicle here. There are other vehicles here, but these guys are heading in this direction, and the bridge divides. It's two lanes. There's another bridge section. You can see there's a section, the lower section, and you can just barely make out an upper section which continues on up, that there is something parked here. This looks like a disc. It's PIA 16101, and it shows a much longer section of the bridge, and you can see that it keeps right on going along the mountain. And everything seems to be going downhill, including the river, because of the way the camera is mounted. The camera took this image on an angle. Notice there's a craft here. There's probably another craft here. We have a craft here. And more craft here. Probably two here. And we'll take a look at this stuff up here. There's an obvious craft right here. But the bridge itself and the water have been doctored. They've been obscured. Unless you knew that there was a gondola here, you would not see it in this image. PIA 16103. This is called, I guess jokingly, NASA releases first high-res color images of the red planet. But there's the bridge. We generally don't see much on the ridge line, but here we have what looks to be like buildings. So, now that we've looked at everything else, now we can turn our attention to this section of just the gondola. And here it is isolated. Now, I did not name this the gondola. Someone else named this, but previously this image appeared in black and white. Here it is in color, and to my knowledge this is the first time that it's been shown in color. There appears to be a cutout here, and there's a sculpture here, and there's a road sign here. If you look very carefully, right in here, a road sign. It's vertical. The upper character has the same shape as a Latin lowercase t, and there's a link. I don't know if that's a separate character. Semicircular link. And the lower section looks like an upside down 2, a numeral 2. It's not quite an S, or a backward S. This is the original low contrast version, but it's been sharpened somewhat. But again, here you can see this street sign. You can see the T and the link. Looks like a C, and then an upside down numeral 2. And then finally, this is auto contrast and sharpened, and you can see that sign. Now this bridge appears to have a single lane in either direction. So do they really need a road sign that says north-south or east-west? I'd be very curious to know what information this sign conveys. Now while we're here, here's a vehicle on the other roadway traveling through this pass. This vehicle is going up into the hills. And back here there's a hangar cutout, or an opening cut into the side of the mountain, and there appears to be a craft sitting right in that opening. I believe that this is another sculpture. Now here's the gondola, and here's a portion of the bridge, and we quickly lose sight of the bridge or the roadway. At this point it's a roadway, but we can trace it. It has to come back through this passageway between these two sections of rock, and it goes on up. I wrote in the description that the foundation image for this series is PIA 16768, and to show that that is the case, all we need to do is back up And there we have it. PIA 16768 was posted on April 15th, 2013. We began our journey here in the ice and continued all the way to the other end. And all of the images in this series are contained in this image.